Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the jargon and find the real story behind today's biggest corporate moves. And let me tell you, our latest deep dive into AHH Properties Inc. might just make you rethink what is behind those glossy real estate reports. Are they building a secure future or just building more debt? Let's find out. So, diving into this latest report from AHH Properties Incorporated for the year that ended December 31st, 2025. Right off the bat, we see a significant number, a decrease in the fair value of derivatives and other by over $22 million. Now, that might sound like a technical detail, but what it really means is that some of their financial maneuvers that are tied to things like interest rates did not pan out as well as they had hoped in comparison to the previous year. This is a big deal because it directly impacts their reported earnings. Looking at the top line, the total revenues for continuing operations sit at about $285 million for 2025. This is a decent jump from $274 million in 2024. So revenue is growing across the board, which is generally a good sign. Where is this revenue coming from, you ask? Well, the retail segment, which makes up a significant chunk of their business, saw rental revenue stay pretty much the same, around $100 million. This stability is good, especially in the current retail climate, though it also means they are not necessarily growing much in this area. The office segment, however, is where we see some real movement, with revenues jumping by over $8 million to reach more than $103 million. This growth is driven by things like office properties becoming fully operational and increased occupancy. It seems their office spaces are attracting more tenants, which is a positive trend. And then there is multifamily, where revenues also saw a healthy increase of over $7 million. Hitting nearly $66 million. This growth is thanks to new properties coming online and better occupancy rates. Of course, generating revenue comes with costs. Rental expenses across the board went up by about $4.5 million, reaching almost $67 million. This is not entirely unexpected as they bring new properties online and manage existing ones, but it does eat into the profits. And taxes, oh boy. Real estate taxes went up by nearly $1.8 million, reaching over $25 million. As properties become more valuable or new ones are added, these tax bills tend to climb, and it is a cost that keeps going up. Putting all that together, their net operating income, or NOI, which is a key measure of how much profit their properties are making from rent alone, saw a slight dip of about $2 million for the retail segment, but they had solid gains in office and multifamily, leading to an overall increase in segment NOI to over $185 million. This shows that despite rising expenses, the core real estate operations are still generating value. Now let's talk about debt. Interest expense went up significantly by about $6.3 million, reaching over $85 million. This is largely due to having more debt overall, probably from all those acquisitions and developments. Even though interest rates may have eased slightly, having more debt to pay interest on means more money going out the door. And speaking of debt, their total principal balances hit a staggering $1.5 billion. That is a lot of borrowed money. While a portion of it is fixed rate, a large chunk is variable, meaning their interest costs could go up if rates rise. They are working to shift more of this to fixed rates, which is smart, but it is a slow process. Looking at some quarterly numbers, the first quarter of 2025 shows a good picture, with rental revenues over $63 million. But then the very next quarter, the second quarter, shows total revenues around $69 million, and then jumps again in the third quarter to over $72 million. This upswing is good, showing consistent growth throughout the year. However, a big part of the story here is that they are divesting their general contracting and real estate services segment that was historically run through a taxable REIT subsidiary, and they are reporting its results as discontinued operations. This means the income from these operations, which was about $5 million in 2025, is now separated from their core real estate business. This move signals a strategic shift to simplify their business, focusing more on their stabilized real estate portfolio and less on the lower margin construction contracts. Now, let's talk about funds from operations, or FFO. This is a key metric for REITs, kind of like earnings but adjusted for real estate specific items for 2025. Their FFO per S-share ended up being 78 cents. This is down from $1.08 in 2024. While revenues are up, this decrease in FFO per share, along with a net loss attributable to common stockholders, signals that profitability on a per share basis has taken a hit. Their normalized FFO, which excludes certain one-time or non-comparable items, also shows a dip coming in at $1.08 per share for 2025, down from $1.29 in 2024. This suggests that even after cleaning up the numbers, the underlying operational performance might be facing some pressure. Now, for my take on AHH Properties Incorporated, they are clearly making big moves to streamline their business, shedding the construction arm to focus on their core real estate assets. This is a sensible strategy to reduce complexity and volatility. However, their substantial debt load and the slight decrease in FFO Purser raised some questions about their ability to manage this transition smoothly. On the plus side, their office and multifamily segments are showing strong revenue growth and high occupancy, which are very positive signs. They are also navigating a complex market by actively managing their debt and hedging against interest rate risks. The biggest challenges ahead will be successfully executing their strategic repositioning, managing their debt obligations, and continuing to grow their core real estate segments in a competitive environment. So, what is the verdict? Properties Incorporated is in a period of significant transition. They've made strategic moves to simplify their operations and focus on their strengths in retail and office real estate. The growth in these segments and the stability in retail are encouraging. However, the rising interest expenses, the sheer volume of debt, and the dip in FFO Purser indicate there are considerable headwinds. Their heavy reliance on debt also means they are vulnerable to interest rate fluctuations and market downturns. The divestiture of their construction business is a step in the right direction for simplifying their model. But the success of this repositioning will hinge on their ability to reduce leverage and grow cash flow from their core real estate assets without taking on excessive new debt. It is a balancing act, and the coming quarters will be crucial to see if they can pull it off and deliver on their promise of sustainable shareholder value. What are your thoughts on AHH Properties Incorporated's strategy and financial health? Do you think their pivot will pay off? Let me know your insights in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please smash that like button and subscribe for more corporate deep dives. Don't forget to join our growing community on Discord. The link is in the description. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.